the intro, Sal. Hit it,
No.
Sal. Hit it,
No.
Sal.
No!
Hit it!
Go,
Hit it!
go, go, go.
Sal, you fucking missed it.
God damn it. Fuck.
Hey guys,
How do I
we're
get-
back. It's Sunday.
There we go.
It's Monday, I
Sal
mean.
did the intro. That was awesome. That was really fun.
It's Monday.
But we're here. It is Monday, the Checkered Flag Racing Podcast, Season 2, Episode 18, our post-Sonoma episode. I hope nobody here is tipsy on wine today. We have Ryan here. He's looking schmexy in the top right corner. Are you going to say anything?
No, I'm really fucking tired right now.
It's Ryan.
Glad you're here. Sal, how's it going?
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's work?
It was work.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Anything exciting happen?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And we got Wessel on the bottom right. How are you, Mr. Wessel?
I am.
You are.
I am.
How was your day? Did you work?
I did work today. Yep.
How'd that go?
It went.
Okay.
Yep.
I started a new job.
Today was one of the days of all time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I started a new job at a sports memorabilia store. Unfortunately, they don't sell any NASCAR merchandise, except there's just a JJ Yaley garbage bin in the back for whatever reason.
Like a,
So
like a
shout out
trash can,
JJ.
like an actual like JJ
Yes.
Yelly trash can.
Yes.
Fitting.
Yeah,
Pretty fitting.
very actually. JJ Yaley.
Is this
was
like
dog
is this
shit.
like an 18 JJ Yelly trash can?
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
fitting. Definitely
It's like
very
2006 JJ Yaley trash can.
fitting. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, Martin Truex Jr. wins the race at Sonoma, kind of in a dominant fashion. I mean, Kyle Busch hung around there towards the end, but I really don't think it was in doubt for Martin Truex Jr. Really at many points during this race. What do we
Man,
think
when I
about the
got home-
race?
When I got home and turned on the race, him and Denny were ahead by 10 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
What the fuck was going on?
They were cooking. Was like Chase and Larson up there at that point too?
Yeah,
Like,
I
that
think
was
they
like-
were like 4th and 5th maybe, and I can't remember
Yeah, that's
who
when
else
they
was up
had-
there with them.
You know, as a Chase fan, it's rare for me to say this, but Alan Gustafson, what a day he had.
Yeah, he had one of his best races on the pit box yesterday.
Incredible day for Alan Gustafson. I mean, that guy was calling everything right. So I'm pretty happy with that. And for Chase to get, is this his first top 5 since he's been back?
Well, no,
First top-
second, because he finished.
Well, yeah,
top
it's his
5 at
first race
Darlington.
back, Mike.
Oh, he was top 5 at Darlington. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's a fever dream race. He did finish 3rd there. So
Third.
yeah, second top 5. Even though that first one could have been debatable if he should have been up there still or not. But so Martin Truex Jr. wins kind of in a dominant fashion, as many Martin Truex Jr. wins are kind of boring. I enjoy
When
the
Martin
race.
Truex Jr. wins, it's always a race that he fucking dominates. Like, there's never a
it's-
race where he just kind of backs into.
Martin Truex Jr. never wins an exciting race.
No.
No.
Martin Truex Jr. wins dog shit NASCAR races.
Didn't he dominate, like, was it either 2016 or 2017 Coke 600 where he just
Still
was-
holds the record for most
Both.
laps led.
He dominated
most
both
laps
of them,
led
I
in a
think.
single
I
race.
think. I think
Austin Dillon had
17
the
he
fuel.
dominated like the most.
I think, did he win 16 and then dominate 17? And that's when Dillon had the fuel save and got him like right at the end.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know what is happening in our league's Discord right now. We have a group of some of the dumbest people on the planet, including Quentin, I'll just say. He's unbelievable. Ryan, what do you think about the race?
I mean, like you said, Martin Truex Jr. win. Not the most exciting in the world, but it's not a surprise. He's been one of the better road course racers for the span since he's really been since the start of Furniture Row to when he got into Gibbs. So I really think that this is no surprise for him to win. It just he did it kind of easily, as I didn't expect that, but pretty boring, but expected to see him win.
I guess the question was, is Toyota back at road courses? And that was answered, I'd say, pretty overwhelmingly during that race. The early part of the race, I think Toyota was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think, at one point. I mean, that's how they qualified, right? Weren't they top 5?
No, because McDowell was thrown in there.
Okay. Good. He had a good race, too. His pit
He
crew kind of
very-
screwed him,
Very
which also
quiet.
screwed me in the picks this week. So we'll get to that at some point in this show.
I think I'm cursing drivers now.
I'm last, so
There were some guys that had very quietly good races. McDowell was one of them.
of course
Busher,
who actually won Bradley the Vicks.
Again, Busher again, back-to-back years of very, very great Sonoma runs.
Yeah. Adrian Allmendinger had a good day, and considering that Sonoma really isn't his best road course, he's never done exceptionally well there. He had a good day. I think Chase Elliott had the day that he needed to have. Of course, a win would be nice, but
he got the finish that he desperately needed.
And watching his race, the cautions came out at really unfortunate times for him specifically. It felt like that first caution when it kind of moved them back to like 15th, so you couldn't get any stage points in stage 2, and then you had the late caution that was a couple laps after I think he needed to maybe be able to hold off Truex or have the potential. I was kind of surprised more people didn't stay out at that last stop because you weren't going to beat Truex pitting and taking 4 tires.
No, you weren't.
He was just so fast, and he was able to move through the field like nobody else. So I don't know why more people didn't stay out. Maybe I thought Kevin Harvick might have. He was on the same strategy as Elliott. I found that kind of interesting. Sal, what's your thoughts on the race?
I really liked the race again. I
Okay.
love the no stage caution.
That was the only part about the race I liked.
Not only did it like throw in like more strategy, because I mean these teams are trying to test their luck by staying out and then trying to position themselves still. Do we want to stay out and not get anything? Do we want to just go ahead, not just the strategy portion of it is what I really liked on it. The caution towards the end, like y'all said, I was really surprised. More people, like I thought at least McDowell, maybe Busher, other people like that would stay. Like people who just absolutely need to win, and this was their best chance. But they didn't. So
Mike Joy was convinced McDowell was going to pit.
Yeah.
He said, "I'll tell you, he's not going to pit."
Mike Joy was convinced of a lot of things during that race, including Tony Stewart beating Martin Truex Jr. in the 2016.
You just had to be there. You just had to be there, and he was. I guess
Mike Joy is turning into Darrell Waltrip very quickly.
Mike Joy was on another. He was on something again.
I don't know what race he watched in 2016, but he said a lot of things about the 2016 race that were very inaccurate.
It sounded exciting to me. Maybe maybe he knows more than we do.
Maybe in a past life.
Exactly.
Clint Boyer had a stroke.
Bro, Clint's stroke was awesome. Oh, storyline! That was really good. Fox is done. I guess I'll probably say thankfully, and this isn't anything on Mike Joy. I think for the most part he is a very good play-by-play announcer. Just as he's getting older, seems like he's making a couple more mistakes here and there, but still he does a very good job, I'd say. Clint Boyer, only issue I have with him is he kind of brings energy at times where it might not be needed and then doesn't when it's needed. Like he's all excited when they're like, "Oh, let's talk to the driver in the car before the race." Be like, "Oh, driver, you must have a good hot rod today," shouting at him. But then at the Daytona 500, when there's a wreck on the last lap, he goes, "Oh, he turned him."
He just turned him.
It's like, dude, can you bring like the energy at the right time? which that's what I'd say he struggles doing, to be honest. And I just say that like Fox's production overall isn't great. Like some of the director work, I'm not a fan of, and I think NBC takes it much more seriously. Like if you watch the first like 10 minutes of Race Day, they presented it like it was a soap opera, and they did all these graphics and had Larry Mack reading from a big old book, and it's like, all right, this is so wacky. But are we excited for NBC, folks? What do we think?
I think production
Not
wise,
excited for Rick.
production wise, yes, I think they're better at kind of giving the like broadcasting the races. I'm just not like Wessel said, not excited for Rick, but everything else I'm excited for.
I love me some Dell Jr.
Bro, I love Dale Jr.'s
I am
awesome.
ready.
He's gonna bring the energy.
So the problem that you have with Clint is kind of a similar problem that I have with Dale Jr. Is that instead of like bringing the energy when it's like appropriate, Jr. is just 100 all the time.
He's always wired,
and it's
yes.
just like chill out sometimes. I mean, come on.
Maybe he had a couple Budweisers before he gets in the booth.
What? I can't wait for we got a car to the wall here. Josh Balicki in 78.
That brings out a caution.
Oh, we got a car to the wall here in turn 2. So yeah, I'm excited for NBC. I love Dale. I can't even I mark out for Dale every time he says anything. Like he's my guy. I love it. I love Dale in the booth. Jeff Burton, he's good.
I'm coming around on Jeff Burton.
He's gotten better, I think.
Yeah.
As he has to talk less, I think he's a little better. And I kind of like how NBC does it, where they have Rick and Steve kind of in their booth, and Dale and Jeff in theirs. And I think Dale and Jeff do a really good job bouncing off each other and giving like a driver's analysis on things. And Steve Letarte is awesome. He does a really, really good job. Oh my God, KLW's here.
Show us your face.
We need a KLW.
We've been trying to get this guy to reveal his face for days now, honestly, and he won't.
We could never get Eisen to reveal his face until we found it.
We
saw it.
As I actually had that Incog said that last night, and I said
we tried every trick in the book to try to get him to like show us what he looked like, and then we finally found it like multiple years later in the Georgia sex offender registry. Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to find KLW's face that way. KLW is awesome. We love him. But we haven't really discussed the question that kind of is the title of this episode. Is Truex the championship favorite now? Go around here and say if you think so. We'll go in order. So it'll be Ryan, Sal, Wessel, and then I'll close it out.
No, I think it's still a little wide open.
Okay.
I don't think there's a for sure favorite this year. And I think it was kind of the same as last year. There wasn't a for sure favorite. But this year's kind of more broken wide open, it feels like. Yeah, Truex his 2 wins were very good, but sometimes that there can be inconsistencies. But I mean, I think this year's kind of wide open.
I would disagree with saying that last year there wasn't a favorite. I thought it was kind of like universal that Chase was the favorite.
Maybe like later towards the year as the playoffs were starting.
Of course, right now, this stretch that they're heading into,
this is when he won 3
Chase
races.
Emerged, yeah.
So I guess maybe like Chastain was the favorite this time last year. Maybe. I mean, who else would it have been then? Chase was, I think, probably the points leader by now.
I think it was kind of mostly probably Ross at this point last year.
Chastain, that little combo. Sal, what are your thoughts? Is Truex the championship favorite right now?
No. I think right now it's still William Byron. Because, I mean, other than this race, he's found his way to kind of always be up there top 5, if not top 5, top 10. And, I mean, he seems to have figured out everywhere. Road course, short track. like I said, other than this one, because I know at Coda it was him and Reddick for most of the race, going back and forth, trying to get the lead there. But yeah, I think still right now, I think you're looking at William Byron as your favorite.
Wessel?
I kind of agree with Ryan. I don't really see a favorite right now, and it's definitely not Truex. He seems a little hit or miss to me this year. It's either he's up front dominating the race, or he's not really even inside the top 10. Like,
Or as James Small would say, they're running like a bag of dicks. He always likes talking about dicks.
yeah.
That guy is all like Ryan Blaney stayed out on the last restart, and James Small told Martin Truex that he's been running like a broke dick all day.
He seems just too inconsistent for me. And
he's the
again,
points leader.
Truex?
Yeah. After this week,
probably. Yeah.
He just took it.
I don't know. It's just, to me, it seems like he's either running like right up in the top 2, 3, or he's just outside of the top 10. It's just, or even 15 for that matter. It just seems a little too inconsistent for me.
I will say that my championship favorite is kind of like a fork right now. There are 4 prongs to this fork. There's Martin Truex Jr., there's William Byron, there's Kyle Busch, and there's Kyle Larson right now. I mean, those 4, I think, have separated themselves so far this year compared to the rest of the field.
Kyle Busch has definitely gotten better these last few weeks, because at the beginning of the year, he was very spotty.
Exactly. I would say that my championship favorite is, I'll agree with Sal, is William Byron right now. How many points did he get on that penalty that happened?
60.
He's only 13 points off the points lead right now in second. Take that away, he's about a full race ahead. I mean, how many wins did he have? 3, 2?
How far did Blaney drop?
Blaney's like third. Did Blaney go back to third, I think? Yeah, Blaney's third right now. I'll pull up the points here, and that'll kind of lead us into what we're going to do right now. I guess we can kind of define where we're at currently as the mid-season point. Of course, because we have that week off before we head into Fox. So we're going to do a little...
Come on, Mike, Joey. Get it together.
Something in the name.
At least I'll correct you.
Thank you. So we're going to do something that we do at the end of the year. We did it last year. We're going to grade some of these guys' seasons so far. We're going to look at where they are. I don't know if we'll do everybody, but we'll go through them. Yeah, so this is the point standings. You have Truex, Byron, Blaney, Chastain, and Harvick are your top 5. Busch and Bell just a smidge outside of that in 6th and 7th. The top 7 in points are separated by 32 points right now.
It's close. This is where you wish you didn't have the playoff. The playoffs, since this is where you'd rather have, like, back before they started the chase for the cup and everything like that, where this would be like very exciting season if it went right to the last race almost, because Truex, Byron, Blaney, Chastain, Harvick, like the top 10 have a very good shot. Look at Buescher in 11 too. Speaking of that, let me see that. Like,
yeah, definitely.
There's a lot of guys that are in contention, even like that are still like mathematically in. That could have been mathematically in for the championship if it was the really old format.
Okay, so we're gonna go in the order that we are on the screen. So it'll be me, Ryan, Sal, and Wessel, and we're not gonna do everybody. Let's start with Noah Gragson, who actually we didn't talk about it. Missed the race at Sonoma with a concussion. So far for Noah Gragson, it is an F for me. Just really, really underperforming.
Had him in the playoffs, Mike. You had him winning a race.
I know. That's why I'm giving him an F. Somebody else start talking so I don't get sad about how stupid I sound about that.
I'm gonna give Gregson a D-, almost an F. The only reason why I'm not giving him an F is because the equipment he's in is jack shit. I mean, Legacy Motor Club or whatever the hell they want to be called. They sure as hell aren't leaving any legacy right now besides in the back because they're getting their ass.
Ooh, damn, Ryan.
They're getting their asses handed to week in, week out, and especially Noah Gragson. So, I mean, D- for him.
Okay. Yeah, next up, Sal.
Yeah, it's got to be an F. I mean, and it sucks because a bunch of people give him crap because they don't like him, so they're blaming it on him. But I mean, a lot of this stuff is this team won a race last year, and neither of their drivers had shown that speed they were showing towards the end of the year. So
Not even close.
Took 20 steps backwards, it feels like.
Yeah. No wonder why they're going to Toyota.
And you also have to think, like, since they've made their announcement of them switching to Toyota, Jesus Christ, are they still getting the same information from Chevy now
Probably
that they were
not.
getting at the beginning of the season?
Probably not.
Because they're probably not getting hardly jack shit right now.
No.
And that's on top of them probably hardly not getting anything anyways. So, I gave him an F. I mean, yeah, I realized I left out my grade there.
That's okay. Next up, let's do Chase Briscoe.
Why are you skipping Ty Dillon like that?
Bro.
F.
Okay.
We all know what the answer is. Okay?
That's a pure F. And the only reason why I gave
all-
Noah Gragson a D- is because he at least had the balls to go up to Chastain and
then get his ass kicked. Chase
No, I
Briscoe, I mean, he got that penalty, but he was kind of on the playoff bubble before that, sort of. But that team has come out in so many races this year and ran extremely poorly. I'm going to give him a D+. No, a D. We'll give Chase Briscoe the D.
Chase Briscoe's kind of he's struggled a lot during this season. I'm going to give him a D-. I mean, like you said, Mike, this team, once that car comes off the truck, there's no speed. There's been very few races where he's shown speed. But Phoenix could be because he has probably the best driver at Phoenix on his team. That could be a real big reason why he ran good at Phoenix this year. And I mean, he was good at the dirt race, right? But he has dirt background.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's not
3 top 5, so solid. But
I mean, he's not running very well for the caliber that Stuart Haas could be running at. But that whole team's been a struggle this year, so D-.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him probably a D or D+ also. It's man, it's tough to see SHR continue to struggle like they have been.
Yeah.
And it's like, Kevin Harvick left RCR because of him kind of having to carry the team, and he goes to a team where he's doing the same thing. So
yeah.
Could be the reason why he's retiring.
I think it's most of the next gen car. He clearly does not like this next gen car. And he's also been in the Spart for Spart. God damn it, I cannot speak today. He's also been in the sport for fucking 22 years. So
long tenured.
I think his time was up anyways.
How old is Harvick? He's
Harvick's like 47. Yeah.
Yeah,
Which Denny's like 45. Denny's not even far behind him.
Denny's not that old.
He's 43, 4, 5.
I'm gonna guess 41 for Denny. I don't think he's that old.
Damn, Mike was 1 year off. He's 42.
Yeah, he's been in the Spart for a while. Wessel also absolutely butchered the order here. It was Sal's turn.
Buddy, I'm going how the fucking it goes down. All right.
We're doing left
Sal's
to
below
right.
me.
What? Oh, is it actually different? Like when I'm sharing my screen?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
down.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. So let's do it that order then. Sal,
Motherfucker.
go.
I'm gonna
Sorry,
give him
I can't see. I'm on the screen.
a C- because I mean they
Generous.
have ran terrible, but they ran terrible like the first half of the race. Then they strike gold, and here comes Chase Briscoe finding his way into the top 15 after in the same race where he was getting passed on pure pace by BJ McLeod.
Next up, we're not going to do these three because we kind of covered Eric Jones, and I'd say Burton and Dillon have kind of been irrelevant. We'll do Chase Elliott next. Competed in 9 out of the 16 races, partially due to injury and partially due to suspension. But honestly, for Chase Elliott's standards here, I'm going to have to give an F. Coming off of the regular season championship, starting off with a second place finish at Fontana.
I'm shocked.
And then got his leg broken and missed a substantial amount of races. Then came back, was running solid for a few races, then got suspended. So it's an F for me for Chase Elliott. Pretty disappointing so far this season. And I would say he probably would say that too. So it's an F for me for Chase Elliott.
I mean, like you said, Mike, this isn't the Chase Elliott standard year. For me, it's an F. I mean, granted, he's missed almost half the races due to injury and then due to his temper getting in his way with Denny Hamlin. But still, he's not running like he did last year. So, I mean, right now it's an F.
Yeah, I'd say if you're taking into account only the races he's been in, I'd probably give him like a C. But I'm also taking into account his decision to go snowboarding and break his leg, and then his decision to intentionally wreck Denny Hamlin on the straightaway at Charlotte, which are both seemingly pretty silly decisions. I understand that the snowboarding deal, accidents can happen, but just that's something that you really, really don't want to happen. So, Wessel, what do you think?
I'm going to give him a D. It's not something we're used to seeing from Chase Elliott. He's, missed 7 races, and he's potentially we could see Chase Elliott not make the playoffs this year, and I'm starting to think that's kind of a real possibility. I would put it at a 70% chance that Chase Elliott does not make the playoffs right now. And for a guy that's been in the Final Four the last
3 years,
for the last 3 years, and a championship the first year, it's not something that you would expect. This is a thing Joey Logano used to do, is that he'd make the Final Four and then miss the playoffs because he got a fucking win encumbered, whatever the fuck it's called. But this is I don't know. This is pretty wild to see, and it's just it's disappointing, seeing NASCAR's golden boy run like shit. Sounds familiar, right?
I wouldn't say he's ran like shit.
Well, he hasn't run like shit, but
he's been decent.
I would say, like you said, running wise, how he's been performing, I would give him a C.
Yeah.
But compare it to the rest of the Hendrick cars, I would honestly say I might even put him below Bowman in performance this year. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, Bowman
I think he's honestly been the worst performing Hendrick car this year.
Yeah. Bowman struggled a bit since he's been back, but yeah. Sal?
An F. I mean, it sucks. And good runs, other than yesterday, the good runs that he's had, they've kind of been backed into in a way, just stuff that they're lucky to get. Shout out to the pit crew. They've been doing their job all season long. No matter who is in that car, they were gaining spots for Barry. I think there was a couple where they gained spots for even LaJoy and all that. Just the performance in the car, and I will put some of it even on Chase rushing himself to be back. Between those two things, he just hasn't run to that standard that he's been put to, basically.
Yeah. Next up, we'll do Todd Gilliland. I'm going to give him a B plus. I mean, he's had an impressive season considering he's driven about 4 different cars this year. But for him to have, I believe, 3 top 10s, he's ran really well in that front row 38. And if Eric Almirola, who's right here, does decide to retire at the end of the year, I'd say that there are 3 guys for 3 spots if Eric Almirola retires between the front row 2 and the 10 car. And I think it does come down to McDowell, Zane Smith, and Todd Gilliland. But I think Todd Gilliland would probably end up at front row still. And it would probably be either Zane Smith or Michael McDowell going to the 10. But Todd Gilliland has done a great job this year. So it's a B plus for me for Todd Gilliland.
I'm going to agree with Mike on this one. I have the same grade. Just because, I mean, he's gone into a few different rides this year. And he's done solid. I mean, 3 top 10s and the equipment that he has been in is really good. So, I mean, if Mike says, if Almirola retires, Gillen's probably one of the guys that could be considered, but you'd probably see either most likely Zane Smith in that car, or maybe McDowell if possibly. But I don't know. I think McDowell will stay in the 34. Just a gut feeling on my end. So I mean, Gillen's name could be thrown in as a possible.
Let's not forget that there has been rumors of front row downsizing to 1 car.
That is true.
Let's not forget that that's something that has been floating around earlier this year.
How they've ran, though, I doubt they would do that.
True. And also, hasn't Denny been pretty outspoken about trying to get a 3rd car?
I think he's waiting on.
And also, hasn't
what the next
Trackhouse
deal is
also,
going to be like? I think those are 2 teams that would be interested in the 3rd one. Yeah.
But yeah, I would also give Todd Gilliland a B here. It's been a really good year for him. And even in the 51 car, he hasn't been really running bad in the 51 car either. And to see him like not that far behind Michael McDowell in points, I think that's like what
less than 40 points.
Yeah, and especially like he's running. How many races is it he's running in this fucking 51 piece of shit?
6 or 7 in Rick Ware cars.
I mean, yeah, that's a 30th place car. Like, I mean,
yeah. And
to see him kind of outperforming the equipment and on both teams, honestly, has been pretty good for him to see him do this year. And I hope he'll get a better ride for next year and not get fucked over by his team.
Or hopefully he just ends up at front row full time.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him a B. I think he only had, like, realistically for the standard of equipment he's been running, front row is like, what would y'all say, like a top 20, top 25 running capable team?
Yeah. Yeah, in that range.
He's also gotten in Rick Ware Racing, and I think he did have 1 bad race. I can't remember. It was the first one that he ran with them.
Yeah.
Where he did run to the standards of that equipment. But yesterday he had a top 25, which for them, just depending on who's the driver, because I know JJ Yaley's had some pretty good runs. Joey Hand, when they had him in there, he had some pretty decent runs.
Steady hand.
So, I mean, what he's been able to do in this terrible equipment has been good, and I hope it leads, if it's not a good cup ride, a good quality Xfinity ride.
Well, I think he's proven that, in my opinion, that he deserves a cup ride. A couple honorable mentions here. We'll talk about the quality guys. 20th and 23rd in points. AJ Allmendinger is not doing too well. Has really kind of risen up the standings over the last couple of weeks. Justin Haley's having a solid year. Corey LaJoy doing a great job for Spire, 22nd in points. Austin Cindric is so mid so far. And Michael McDowell being 19th in points is pretty impressive. Let's talk about Ty Gibbs. 18th in points during his rookie year, just 11 points out of the playoffs right now. I'm going to give Ty Gibbs a B-. He's had a solid rookie year. He's kept the car clean. He's been pretty consistent, gotten a few top 10 finishes for that team. And when he's not in the top 10, it seems like he's finishing just outside of it. So it's going to be a B- for me for Ty Gibbs. I think he's impressed so far in his rookie season. He's been solid, and he hasn't made the mistakes that he was making in the Xfinity series. And I think he's been very, very conscious of that. So a really solid, consistent start for Ty Gibbs. and I think that he will probably break through and win. I'd say next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a win. I don't think he'll make the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up a win at like a Texas in the playoffs or something like that.
I'm gonna give him a C plus for now, and if we come back later to this, it's probably gonna end up being higher. He's like you guys said, Mike. Very solid rookie season. Um, what I think people came in with very high expectations for Ty Gibbs, but I mean, for him to be running and having no issues with any other Cup drivers and being able to be somewhere between the top 7 and the top 15 in good amount of races is very good, especially for a rookie. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins at some point during this year. I wouldn't even be surprised if he sneaks in because he won. Because I feel like his win might be coming before the playoffs because it's starting to come closer and closer. I think he's gotten the car figured out. So it's just now putting a good race together for him, like a good consistent race.
I'm really going to agree with Ryan here. I've got him at a C plus right now. But if you ask me like the first, I don't know, like 8 or 9 races of the year, it probably would have been like a D.
Yeah, but he's been a lot better.
But he's like these last, 5, 6, 7 races. It's been like a B plus. He's been running really well lately. I think he's finally kind of starting to get into the groove of things. And I think he might pop off a win before the playoffs. Maybe. I don't know. I think he'll probably get a win this year, but it will probably be after the playoffs. And if he keeps running as good as he has been lately, he might sneak into the playoffs on points. I mean, he's not that far off.
Yeah, only 11 out. It's very doable.
I'm gonna give him a B because I mean I did expect him to carry that same, I want to say, like, ego that he had in the Xfinity series. Just because he knew that no matter what wrong he does, he'd always have a top quality ride.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's been a lot more respectful. He's more conscious on who these guys are, who he's racing, and yeah, I didn't think he would be even thinking playoffs. Honestly, I thought he was gonna be doing mediocre. But I mean, he's proven me wrong, so I wouldn't be shocked for him to be in the playoffs or, like y'all said, get the win.
Yeah. Suarez having an okay season, kind of disappointing compared to where he was last year. Bowman with the injury, it's really hard to judge him. So I'd probably put him in when Bowman was racing earlier in the season, he was very strong. Bubba Wallace is having one of his best stretches right now. Of course, that road course kind of threw a little wrench in that, but
he's not a road course racer. Yeah. I mean,
my next guy that I'm going to have is great. Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. He is not a road course guy. Next guy I'm going to have is great. It's Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
A plus, dude.
I'm going to give him an A plus as well.
Yeah.
I mean, wins the Daytona 500, and now he's 14th in points still. Like, the guy is outrunning Bubba Wallace, Daniel Suarez, Ty Gibbs. I mean, if you told me at the beginning of the year that at Sonoma, at kind of the mid-season point, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would have 72 more points than Daniel Suarez, I think you were crazy. I think Daniel Suarez got a penalty. But no, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., even without his Daytona 500 win, would be comfortably in the playoffs right now. So A plus for me for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. this year. Really impressive.
But for me, it's an A plus as well. I mean, winning the Daytona 500, which he's been a great plate racer, so it's kind of bound for him to break through at some point at a plate race again. And then just kind of staying pretty consistent in that equipment. And I think he could sweep Daytona. I'm just throwing that out there. He might sweep Daytona. It's a very big possibility with just how good he is at plate races. So it's been a fantastic season for the 47 team and Ricky Stenhouse.
I'm giving him an A plus. I mean, he's been running really good. He's I'll give him a lot of credit. He's not been the old Ricky Spinhouse we're used to this year. Now, granted, there's been a lot of races where he's been running really well at, like Gateway, and has been taken out by some bullshit, like with Cindric and Austin Dillon. He got taken out during that when he was running really well.
Top 10, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think it's like they're kind of putting it together there at JTG. Maybe the downsizing from getting rid of the 37 kind of helped them finally, and they're putting runs together finally, and it's seems it's working out for them. And winning this Daytona 500 that I went to.
I'll give him an A+. And I mean, I feel like this is like a Daytona 500 kind of effect, because I can't recall how
McDowell was the same way.
Yeah,
when he won it.
I don't know how comfortably he would have been in without that win, but I remember he went like on a tear of like 3-4 top 10s in a row.
McDowell would have been out on points, but
yeah, but he would have been in
17th.
Considering how that 34 had been in years prior, he was way above.
Way faster than what it should have been.
And I mean, who knows what it is? Maybe it's like the
kind of around
money
where it is
that
now. I would
winning
say.
it brings in, that just lets them get a hold of some of the more resources that they need to take that extra step and be competitive. But with the rate this team is running and the way they like as good as they probably could get, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not even like a first round exit, like a second round at least, maybe even third.
Yeah, I mean, considering the tracks for him, you have Darlington, which I think he was running well at earlier this year. Kansas, which I also think he was running well at. He ran well last year, and I think he ran okay at this year. And Bristol, which is one of his best tracks. So that first round is pretty good, I'd say, for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He finished 12th at Kansas earlier this year, which is a really good run. Was running top 15 at Darlington, I believe, before he had an incident. And then, of course, I think everybody knows how good he is at Bristol. So that first round, don't count Ricky Stenhouse Jr. out for just being one of the, he'll be out in the first round. I'm kind of with you, Sal. I like that call. I don't think he gets eliminated first round. Tyler Reddick, solid season so far, getting that win at Coda. And now we're going to do our next grade as kind of a team. RFK, give me, I'm not going to say an A+ because they haven't gotten a win yet. I'm going to give them an A. 11th and 12th in points, both comfortably in the playoffs, which is a huge step from where they were even a couple of years ago, even last year. But that, not being able to get that win yet so far this year, I would say would be the cherry on top, maybe to give RFK as a whole an A+. But for Brad Keselowski to have this operation in year 2 and having his team at 11th and 12th in points, both, I'd say, within 100 points of the points lead. I know Brad's 101, but it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Give me an A for them.
Like how I said, Legacy Motorsports took 20 steps back. It's the exact opposite for RFK. They took like 20 steps forward compared to last year. I mean, Buescher is showing a lot of speed. Keselowski, the same thing. I mean, Keselowski could have won Atlanta, and that's where my ranking could have been an A+. Right now it's an A-, but I would not be surprised to see both of them get a win at some point this year, which would, I think, put the cherry on top for this team. Because, I mean, they have shown a lot of speed consistently. I mean, Brad wasn't the greatest at Sonoma, but Brad is also not a big Sonoma guy. So really, but to see the 17 and the 6 show decent speed at like top 12 to 8 speed, and then sometimes even winning speed in those cars is a huge step forward compared to last year.
Yeah. So like if we're grading the team, I'm going to give them an A. But like separately, I'm going to give Chris Buescher like an A- and Brad an A. Buescher, he's running, a little bit better than he was last year. I mean, kind of seeing the same out of Chris Buescher. He was definitely the better car last year. This year, even though points look differently, I would say Brad might be a little bit better.
And I'd say it's actually there's kind of a gap between them because I think Brad has had some unfortunate luck. In a lot of situations this year.
Last year, Brad had that big penalty.
Brad also had a large 100-point
penalty.
penalty.
I would say, was also better than Brad last year.
Yeah, he was. He was considerably
before
running
the penalty
better.
And even after. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, as a team, I'll give them an A, and Busher A minus, Brad A. They're definitely showing signs of an old Roush Fenway team kind of showing up finally.
I mean, the whole team an A because the turnaround they've had from last year to this year has been amazing. Yeah, even just for the clash, I was kind of disappointed because I thought this was just about to mirror, if not get worse than last year. But what they've been able to do, I mean, they had a chance at the 500 at one point. They organization as a whole this year has taken such a huge step forward. I think Brad's next step in order to just assure kind of at least 2-3 more years of like them running decent and trying to put something together for the long run. Sign Chris Buescher back.
That's
Brad is very big on Chris Busher, so
he
I don't think
loves
that's gonna
that
be a
guy.
problem.
And
He
give me
loves him some Chris Busher.
this summer, I think is when you get the extension on him.
Okay, an 8-year deal, lifetime
Lifetime
contract.
deal.
Get that Bobby Vanilla contract.
Give him the Jeff Gordon Hendrick treatment. Chris Busher's going to be the vice chairman after he's done.
Kozlowski Busher Racing coming soon.
Ooh,
Kozlowski,
KBR.
Busher,
Ooh.
Roush Fenway.
KBR. No, yeah, KBRF. BRFK Racing. RFKB Racing. Could be a lot of letters in play.
RFBK Racing.
How long do we think
Have it
before
your way.
Roush is? How long do we think before Roush is just completely out of this?
I doubt he'll be out of it. They'll
I mean,
keep the
Roush.
name.
Yeah,
Not until he
but
goes to the grave, probably.
I don't even think then. I mean, you want to
I
keep
just think they'll
someone of
keep their
his
name.
caliber in.
Because when Jeff Gordon takes over Hendrick, I think it'll still probably be called Hendrick or Hendrick and Gordon.
well, I mean, look what happened with Richard Petty. I mean, he's not really.
But he's
I mean,
kind of been.
I think Hendrick
Richard
Motorsports
Petty
will
probably
always
doesn't remember signing that deal either. So
be. Yeah,
he was
I
all
think
mad
Hendrick
about it. It was
Motorsports will
his
always
decision.
be Hendrick Motorsports, but
Yeah.
Richard Petty. I mean, that's also a team that's never really been
Good.
good. You know,
I wouldn't be surprised if they had the Gordon name on the Hendrick at some point.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I think that he's in line to probably be the next owner.
Oh, most definitely.
100%.
Which I love. I love that. Next up, we're going to grade the 2021 champ, Kyle Larson. I'm going to give him a B. I think that on raw speed, he's been the fastest this year. But for him to be 10th in points with only 2 wins, considering the amount of speed he's had, I would say it's a little underwhelming. It's been a lot of mistakes from the 5 team. I mean, since the next-gen car has started, Kyle Larson's the second most DNFs behind Ty Dillon. I don't know if that's a company you want to be in.
Damn, I didn't think.
But he does have 2 wins. He is top 10 in points barely, but I think that considering the speed that car has had and considering that he hasn't had a penalty or his got revoked, that for that to be the point position of that car and now to have more playoff points is kind of a disappointment. So I'll give him a B.
I'm gonna give him a B minus. I mean, he's fast. He's got wins, but like you mentioned, the DNFs, which is extremely high. If you're within company of Ty Dillon, there's a problem. And I mean, he's probably been the second fastest Hendrick guy, but I mean, he doesn't look like the Larson that we saw back in 21 when he won his championship.
He's the best driver in the world. I'm gonna give him an A+.
Well, I mean, he's the best driver in the world, but he's owned by Eric Almirola.
I'm not gonna give him an A+. I give him a B+ though. I don't think he's been terrible. I mean, he's definitely not. You know, he's kind of running kind of like he did last year. You know, very similar. He didn't. Did he miss the round of 8 last year? Didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. I think he'll definitely at least make the round of 8 this year. I don't think he's going to miss that. But he's not the fastest car at Hendrick this year, and I don't think he even really was last year. So it's tough to see, you know, the greatest driver in the world not even be the greatest driver on his team. So I don't know. It's B+ for me.
I'm gonna give him a B. He's the greatest driver in the world who hasn't even won everything.
How about that Almirola owning him?
Almirola cooked that guy.
Eric Almirola intimidated Kyle Larson from in front of him during the Xfinity. Bro, that was so random. Eric Almirola winning that shit and intimidating Kyle
Dude,
Larson.
I saw somebody put down a
the Almirola Truex bet.
A $25 bet.
Yes. What a wild man.
Dude, respect though.
Mm.
Next up, we'll do the defending champ, Joey Logano. It's going to be another B for me here. Coming off that championship, got that win at Atlanta, which I think is a fraudulent racetrack, to be completely honest, except when Chase Elliott wins.
Still fraudulent?
No, not when he wins. It's only fraudulent for the victories by Joey Logano and William Byron. Because that summer race last year was a legitimate race, but these two were fraudulent, of course. But yeah, he hasn't run exceptionally well. There's not much to say about him. He's kind of under the radar, got his win. That's kind of how Joey Logano rolls. Like, he'll be kind of there, he'll get that win and kind of just mire around in the regular season, and then he'll pop off in the playoffs. I know it is an odd numbered year, and that usually doesn't bode well for him making the Final Four. But I'm going to give him a B so far. Not what a past champion you want to do, but still solid nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm going to give him a B-. I mean, a lot of the Fords are still kind of hit or miss on speed right now. And, I mean, Logano's probably going to, once the playoffs start, he's probably going to start going back to old Logano. Sorry, Mike, all Atlanta wins now are fraudulent. It's a terrible track.
Oh, no, come on. Not Chase's.
Yeah. Okay, stop being a Chase fan and be honest with yourself.
I'm joking, Ryan. It's satire.
But, I mean, B-, not what you expected from a former champion, but I mean, Larson struggled coming out of his championship season, so it just seems like there's like a championship like hangover afterwards. So, I mean, Logano could pop off in the playoffs, or maybe he's a second or third round exit. Who knows? Just because of the speed of how the Fords have been.
Yeah, the Fords have definitely been off this year, and coming off of a championship, you expect Joe Logano to kind of be running up there, but you know how Joe Logano is; he's a every other year type of guy. But for me, it's kind of a C+ this year. I'll be honest with you; he's not even been the fastest on his team this year, and it's just he just got to win at a super speedway, which we know he's good for running at super speedways, and other than that, he hasn't showed winning speed like anywhere else at all. So it's just a C+ for me.
Did we expect Blaney to be the fastest car, though, at Penske at this year?
Maybe. It's not crazy. Blaney's a better points racer, I think, than Logano.
Give him a B. I mean, the fact that you're able to be top 10 in points right now and drive a Ford says a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this is just your typical Joey Logano season in the making, really. Just get your win early, take it easy, playoffs come, and he's all of a sudden reminding people why he's there. But yeah.
So we're getting a little long here, longer than I wanted to. So we're gonna do these last couple quick hitters. Kyle Busch, 3 wins at RCR this year. That's an A+ for me. Definitely good job for him, exceeding my expectations with that car. So A+ for Kyle Busch.
A+ for me as well. Exceeded expectations in the RCR car.
I find it ironic that he's running really well at the tracks and even winning the races that Tyler Reddick was running really well at. So I'm gonna give that car an A+. And Kyle Busch is a great driver, but he's just he's a B+ for me.
Oh.
I'm gonna give him an A and an A++ for just proving how much of a fraud Austin Dillon is. Really,
I love that. Kevin Harvick in his final season, 5th in points right now. I'm going to say a solid B plus, considering where Fords are at. He's been running pretty well. Was robbed of that Phoenix victory that I think he deserved and would have won me money and also would have won me picks for that week, which is very disappointing. But B plus for Harvick.
I think it's an A, just because of how bad his teammates are performing and just how bad the
That's
Fords
fair.
have been. So,
fair,
I mean, definitely should have won Phoenix if that caution doesn't come out, because at the end of that race, that was Harvick's race to win at that point. He was the fastest car on the track. Harvick's got an A for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him an A minus. Definitely one of the top performing Fords when Ford's in a fucking major down year. And like Ryan said, where's his other SHR teammates? Look at this fucking list. Do you see another SHR car on here?
Closest one.
No. Go back to where you're at number 1, where you were. Do you see another SHR car on here that is not
Smart.
fucking Kevin Harvick? Because I
No.
fucking don't. They suck, and he's carrying them.
Up on my backs,
go on,
boys.
Sal.
A minus. Dude, it still has that dog in him.
He really does.
Who does?
I hope he can get a win here in his final season. But
He
yeah.
will.
Not really much to say about Chastain. Ryan Blaney, I'm going to give him an A. Getting back on the board for the win this year, has been the best Ford, consistent every week. Seems like he runs like third, like 5 seconds off the leaders every week, which is kind of funny. But yeah, Ryan Blaney, I'll give him an A.
I'm gonna give him an A plus. He's been one of the probably the fastest Ford out there. I mean, look at how he ran at Charlotte. I mean, was by far the fastest car out there, and Fords have been struggling at these type of tracks this year. And Blaney just kind of flexed his muscle and won pretty easily. So I think he's got an A plus. He's been the fastest on his team and also just been the fastest Ford.
Yeah, I'm also going to give him an A plus. Fastest running Ford all year, and then coming off the Coke 600 where he put together the best race of his career, I will say. Dominant from lap 1 to lap 400. It's an A plus for Ryan Blaney.
A minus. I would
Fuck you,
like
Sal.
to see more from Blaney. But I mean, with the hand he's dealt, there's really not much more he
And
can.
fuck Kyle
he's
Petty.
Kidding. What's Kyle Petty got to do with this? With the hand he's dealt, I mean, you can't really expect too much from him in a Ford, right? At least right now. But yeah.
Fords only
right.
have 2 wins this year. Let's just keep that in mind. One of them was
Yeah,
at a super
Blaney.
speedway.
Blaney and Logano. Next up, we'll do William Byron, A plus for me. I think he's been clearly the best driver this year. He's had 75 different penalties, and he's still 13 off the points. So he's got 3 wins. He's just been fast every week at every kind of track. William Byron is my top driver of the first half of the year, and it's an A plus for me.
I think it's an A plus. He's been the best Hendrick driver this year by far.
Which is hard.
I
Hard
mean,
to do.
and then get rid of that points penalty. He's gonna have that points lead by a mile.
50-point lead.
Yeah. I mean, 3 wins. I mean, he's been very, very good all year.
William Byron's an A plus. I agree with you, Mike. He's been by far the best so far this year overall. I think he'll come back. I think he'll probably win the regular season championship. Martin Truex Jr. just had a couple tracks that lined up for him to kind of get back ahead of him. But I think William Byron's going to win the regular season title, if not him or Blaney. But that point penalty did definitely hurt him.
Yeah, I think A plus. I mean, he definitely has cleared the field this year, I think. And it's just a matter of when he takes a hold of this points lead and starts pulling away with it early.
Then Martin Truex Jr., I'll say an A plus for him as well. A resurgent season after missing the playoffs. I know he was top 5 in points basically last year, but he still missed the playoffs. Didn't do what he needed to do. Couldn't get the job done. And he got it done twice this year at Dover and Sonoma, which are 2 of, I'd say, his best tracks. So he's really showing that he is still on form. that 19 team is where it needs to be, and I'm going to give him an A+ just for the bounce back season here.
It's an A+. I mean, it's really not a bounce back besides missing the playoffs, because that year was just a crazy amount of winners. That was just like a long that no one could. I mean, realistically, Martin Truex Jr. was a playoff driver by a mile. Just wins is what you need now. But now he's got 2, and like you said, 2 at his best track. I mean, it's an A+, and he's probably. I mean, look at Joe Gibbs. It's been the most consistent team, but he's he's points leader right now, and over Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell.
I'm going to give him an A. He's running is basically as consistently that he was last year. You kind of expect that. Truex and Harvick are both 2 guys that are pretty good at like just running consistently. He's like he had winning speed last year in races, but he just kind of got screwed out of a couple. Like I think back to Darlington when his engine blew, like him and Kyle Busch.
New Hampshire.
So, and then
Trust
New
me,
Hampshire.
yeah.
So, I'm going to give him an A. I don't think he's improved much from last year, just maybe a little bit. Just finishing off a couple races.
I'm gonna give him a B+.
Whoa.
Damn.
Like
Harsh.
Weasel said earlier, he's either up there or he isn't. And I'd like to see some more consistency from him and the team, not just riding around like a bag of dicks.
Good reference. Crazy thing about this top 7 in points is literally 1 DNF for Martin Truex Jr. could move him to 7th in points in an instant with how close this is. Like if Martin Truex Jr. crashes out, finishes last at Nashville, it's very, very possible he ends up 7th in points after that. Isn't that
at least
wild?
like if it happens before, like in the first stage that happens? Yeah.
He could be 7th in points with 1 DNF, which just shows how crazy this battle is.
You know what's crazy? He only has 1 stage win. He's not the Martin Truex stage winner that we used to know.
Right. William Byron is 7, so he's really flexing his muscles. Now it is time to do our pod picks before we wrap up today.
Are we doing picks this week?
We are. We're going to do them this week because we're doing Quiztona next week. Wayo, bringing that back. That'll be fun.
Can I do an honorary pick? Just for fun?
Yeah, Matt hasn't sent me his pick, so you can do that.
Yay.
All right, so we were at Nashville this week. Bradley won with Chris Buescher over there. Again, I got robbed. It's Michael McDowell's pit crew's ass. Wessel picks first, though. Who do you have, Mr.
Who do I want to curse this week? Do I still have Byron?
Do you still have Byron? Yes.
Give me Byron.
Willie B. Well, now William Byron's not winning the championship now, boys. He's cursed him.
And
Curse
next
William Byron
pick,
this week.
I believe, is Sal. Yeah, Sal next.
Give me Alex Bowman.
They are running the short track package, right?
No.
No. Interesting.
Well, Tegan's going to continue the theme with you guys. He picks Chase Elliott. Paul Hendrick drivers off the board. My pick, I'm very happy, is still here. Bubba Wallace.
I could see Bubba winning this race.
I've had him penciled in to win this race all year.
All year.
Next up is JB, who's picking BJ McLeod.
So that's a throwaway. It's a throwaway for him.
And then Maddie hasn't picked. So throw your pick, Ryan.
Who does he have?
You can see who he's picked right here. So anybody that isn't that name. Or if it makes it easier, you can look at this and see who's white.
Why they got to be white?
Let's do Cush Bush.
Cush Bush, okay. Maddie put in Team Cush Bush via Ryan. And then Bradley will
Kyle
take
Cush.
I don't like that.
I don't like Kyle Cush
at all.
I like Cush Bush.
I agree with you. Bradley's taking Denny Hamlin, who is a guy that I almost picked to, led the most laps last year. Just had a bad late pit call, but we're at Nashville this week, next week. We'll have an off week before we head to NBC for their coverage. So next week, we're going to be doing Quiztona. Are we excited? Are you guys excited to be quizzed by me?
Quiz Tona's back.
Rough.
My luck with picks is so bad. I would just like to point out that I picked
I'm
Tyler Reddick.
last.
Mike, I picked Tyler Reddick, who has arguably been the best on road courses in the next gen car,
Yes,
and he finished fucking last.
that's fair.
You know,
I picked Kyle Larson. He finished fucking last.
That's fair.
Ryan gave me Christopher Bell. He finished fucking last. I picked
You know
Ricky Stenhouse. He wins the Daytona 500.
Who-
What the
wait.
fuck is going on?
hold on.
Sure.
Wait, hold on. Who did I pick that week for too? Didn't I pick for Matt
You
that
picked
week?
for Matt, who
Matt
also
that
won. You
week.
literally picked first and last, which is interesting.
Not first and last in picks, like first in the race and last in the race.
Yeah. So that's fun. Quiztona next week. It's going to be exciting. Who's going to win? Sal, Quiztona legend. Ryan also participated. I believe it'll be Wessel's first time in the ring. Taking
I
some
think
quiz.
I was supposed to do a Quiztona last time we were doing it.
Yeah.
And then I think they just didn't do them anymore.
I might have left.
He may or may not have.
I'm not going to be here no more. But we're back. Quiztona's big return next week. It's exciting. I got to do a lot of prep work to make it happen. Sal, are you excited? You don't seem excited.
I'm ready.
Are you going to win?
No.
Okay. That's fair. All right. Time to hit the music.
Can I reload my shotgun real quick?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Hit it to end it. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week for quizzes. Wayo.